Doomfist. Bow, 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 bow. Go check it out.
All right, you ready to go to team chat?
Temple of Anubis. Gold Doomfist.
Oh.
It was like 30 minutes ago. Oh, I answered this one, didn't I? I have over 100 hours playtime and still have no idea what role I fit into, let alone a main. I'm currently stuck in silver. So, this is going to be the last one I read. But, so if you have 100 hours playtime and you have no idea what you roll, you can be like a flex. If you're in silver, there's no real reason for you to commit to a main, let alone a role. So, if you kind of, want to be non-confrontational, or you want to make sure that your teams just are as functional as possible, pick last and pick what you think will make the best composition. What we said earlier about no matter which hero you're playing, you're always going to be within that same kind of like 300, 400 SR bracket. You finding a main is not going to instantly shotgun you 1500 SR up the ranks. Finding a main and getting good at that hero compared to the other heroes might give you like 100, 200, maybe 300 SR more, but a general increase in base mechanics and game sense will be the main thing that allows you to climb the ranks, and you'll find that flexing. The other benefit about flexing is that it gives you a better knowledge of matchups. So if you've played Junkrat and Tracer, then you know kind of how both characters want to act, and you can better outplay people that way as well. Okay, I'm going to mute notifications and turn them off on the screen, and let's get to reviewing.
Alright, we got I Lost Malachi, Pikachu Bro, and Weeb Dreams in here.
Only through conflict.
I was going to say, I was like, is that like
Pikachu Bro
4% render scale? I thought this was going to be the quality of the entire mod. I'm so glad it was a pause menu.
What's up, Weeb Dreams? What's up, Pikachu?
Communication, I like it already.
What a terrifying thought.
What a terrifying thought. 4% render scale.
Hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
I did. It
Working
was
this
American
out.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I guess it was okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Decent crosshair. I like it. Going on to high grounds. Or not. You debated me. Not going on to high grounds. Okay, you're duoing with a Brigitte player. You've got 2 bronze. So this isn't terrible. This really isn't that bad, especially for this SR here. You know what? I'm going to have some restraint and not go on a tangent.
Try not to take too long next time, Alex.
2, 1.
Yeah.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Sombra.
Got a diva right side.
Just pumped off.
Doing pretty well so far. So I will talk about it, actually. I will talk about it, because I feel like you're going to farm kids for a while. Let me open up Overwatch right away. Create, settings, maps, none, Temple of Anubis. Okay, settings, heroes, Doomfist.
Now entering the Temple of Anubis.
Doomfist.
Only through conflict do we evolve.
Okay, so one of the ways that you want to kind of play Doomfist is always sticking to high grounds like this. So when you were over here, I was expecting you to come out here, kind of hop up here, and just chill. Now, one of the things is that you've engaged through the choke, right? So you went down here, and you fought them all the way out here, and then you went back. So one of the ways you engaged here was you punched somebody, and then you just kind of went through, shot, and then you uppercut. So you're using all of your cooldowns to basically hard commit, which is one of the things that we see from like lower elo Doomfists. And one of the things is that you have 2 one-shot abilities here on Doomfist, in that you can do one-shots with your punch, which you did successfully. You got a Sombra that way. Or you can do one-shots using your other 2 cooldowns. So if you've got somebody, you can Seismic Slam off. That's 90 damage. Punch, uppercut. That's, you know, the rest of the damage there. And then if you do this kind of one-shots, you go, boom, you're dead, squishy. Then you've got your punch to escape. So in Doomfist's kind of like general cycle, even at the higher levels, it's like this, that you kind of want to use one of your abilities for mobility and the other to complete your one-shot. So you hard committing should only be usually happening in the phase in which you're cleaning up or you feel like you can chain kills. So if you did one of your one-shots, for example, so if we're going hut and then we want to one-shot here, if you want to get another person, then instead of using your punch for mobility, you can use it to get another kill. So if you can like delete a second person, for example, that'll make the fight 6v4 like instantly, then it's okay to stay in the fight and wait for your cooldowns to come back up so that you don't have to waste them on mobility. So again, if somebody's coming through, boom, you killed them. Fantastic. I'll just drop down with my punch. And then after that, it's like 1, 2, we got some more cooldowns back and let's do it again, sort of thing. So the general cycle on Doomfist is going to be somewhere on the high ground so that you can more easily see your opponents and be in a position where you can execute the one-shot combo, and then use whatever cooldown you didn't use in order to escape back to safety, where you can wait out your cooldowns and wait to go back in. So the general statistic that you should remember on Doomfist is somewhere around 75% of team fights are won by the first pick. So if you get the first pick, your team will win that fight 75% of the time. If you don't get the first pick and you feed your brains out instead, your team will lose the fight 75% of the time. Which means that not only do you have to self-control is what I'm trying to say, is that patience can also be a very important thing on Doomfist. Is that if the opponent is trying to go in and you try and engage early, then the opponent is going to be able to focus all 6 of their individual pools of resources onto killing you. You know, yes, you might be able to get the potential to one-shot somebody and run away, but the risk is really quite high, and it's totally okay to do pretty much nothing at the start of a fight on Doomfist. So if you're here, for example, and somebody's going through the choke, you could do an untargeted slam. Boom! 122. Uppercut. Punch out of there. Behind cover. Just like that. Suddenly they're dead. And then everybody else who dies on their retreat is free alt charge for your teammates. And then you can reset. So there's also, just before I swap, for example, there's another... one of the other... How do I want to do this? Yes, the third one-shot combo. Who Are You did this on King Zero defense against XL2? Anyway. Hut. Punch. Uppercut back to safety. So one of the things is that with Doomfist's punch, it's... so a fully charged punch does 100 on impact, so 100 on hit, and 150 on wall impact. But if you just tap somebody like that... So if you just do a no-charge punch at all, it still does 50 damage, and then if you're close enough to a wall, it'll do an extra 50 damage. So think about how vulnerable you are during that point in time. So the third kind of like really, really niche is if you're starting on a high ground, you can kind of do a 180, punch into them, and then uppercut back onto the high ground. So that's kind of like the third one-shot combo that you can do. And then there's other ways you can improvise, but that's like the main 2 are going to be slam, uppercut, punch out, or punch and, punch in for the kill and being able to get out with your uppercut. So, for example, let's just uppercut constantly. Okay, so the 2 standard one-shots that you're going to want to be doing, slam in, uppercut out, uppercut, punch out. The other one that you're going to be doing is going to be dropping off, punching, and then you uppercut and slam out. So those are the two that you have to be very, very familiar with, and knowing exactly when to use them is pretty important. So if you're trying to go for like tanks or somebody has a barrier, you're going to want to be jumping on people with your punch. If they're squishies, you want to usually be going in with your actual seismic slam there. So if they had like goats, for example, jump off while charging, boom, out. Like that. If they have a squishy, then you want to do it the other way. And if you want to go on the high ground, get the Widow. So just going into a custom game like this with 0% cooldown, so you can kind of figure out which areas you can use as perch spots, which areas you can return to. So let's pick a map like... just pick randomly fucking Lunar Colony.
Traveling to Horizon Lunar Colony.
I see your question about Meteor Strike, and I'll get that in a second.
Only through conflict do we evolve.
So if we're here, for example, one of the things you could do on Doomfist is, for example, do I want to slam in, uppercut, and then punch out, get back to the high ground? Hey, that worked out pretty well. Or do I want to punch in, uppercut, slam out? Which one do you want to do? So this is pretty decent. You can drop and immediately get back to safety. All right, boom. Boom. Up. You don't want to do that one. That one's bad. So if you are going to drop on people, drop with the punch, uppercut, slam out. Or slam in. No, that was the third one. Anyway, but where am I going with this? Just use custom games in order to figure out these spots where you perch on every single game. Now, these get more and more complicated with your rollouts and where you're actually starting. But going back to the actual VOD itself, if you are doing...
Based on my own behaviors.
Try not to take too long next time, Alex.
2, 1.
Yeah.
Attackers incoming. Defend.
So here you're not like really in as good of a spot. You don't have as many options for places where you can attack. The higher ground you are on Doomfist, the more of the map you can get to. So this position, you can only really attack the areas around the low ground. From that high ground position, you can even attack the arch. I don't know why I went to... Did I just go to Horizon Lunar Colony to experiment, like, testing different combos? I think that's the only reason I went here. I actually debated myself by trying to go to a different map.
Now entering the Temple of Anubis.
Doing this. No! Okay, so if we're starting... No! So if we're starting here, if we're starting here, we can attack all of these same areas, and we can get higher damage, right? So if we're starting over here, and they're going through, and we want to kind of do this, that's a 78 damage seismic slam. But if you're starting over here, and you just go for an untargeted, it's 111, or 122 if we jump first. So that's a... If we jump first, it's 125. That's another kind of like very, very small tip, is that even on flat ground, if you use your seismic slam, so if I use my seismic slam like this, 49, 57. So just doing a very quick jump before your seismic slam will give you about 10 to 15 extra damage on your seismic slam completely for free. Right? So 49, 57. It's 9, 8. Math is hard. Anyway, so from up here, you do more damage, you have more options, because if you're down there, you can't attack the arch, but if you're up here, you can. So if they have a Widowmaker, you can contest them up here. But you can't if you're down there. So staying on the high ground gives you a lot more area that you can possibly engage on, and will make your abilities do more damage.
Objective A.
Sombra.
Let's go options, sound. So you charge your punch up. Slam. Okay, nice one. You must have saw her like cloaking through the main gates or whatever. So this is fine. But what happens next is a little bit interesting. So you just kind of stay here. You don't try and go for a reset. And the opponent isn't moving through the choke, and you take the fight to them. So there's another punch engage here.
Got a diva right side.
And you're staying in. And you're just killing people.
Just pumped off.
So you'd already got the Somber kill. Your soldier already killed a Moira, so you were up 2. There wasn't really any need for you to do that. And if you were against better players, that would have gotten punished really hard.
And they're all going on the point.
And you're just kind of like staying on the low ground, okay? So Doomfist is not a sustained fighter. He's not somebody like who's not even a Reaper really qualifies. Who is the most sustained fighter that I can think of? Somebody like a pocketed Reinhardt. A pocketed Reinhardt. Brig. Thank you. Brig is a great example. Even Soldier, not so. Soldier will still want to reposition when his cooldowns and kind of like cycle through like bait, reposition. He can stay in a position so long as he has his cooldowns, but if his cooldowns are used. So Soldier is almost the same, except the fact that Soldier can stay in a position until he uses his cooldowns, then he needs to do something, whereas Doomfist would use his cooldowns and then he needs to leave. It's like reversed. But Brigitte and Reinhardt both stay, and Lucio too. Lucio is a great another example. Wrecking Ball is not. Wrecking Ball is another guy who wants to kind of burst engage with his cooldowns and then fuck off. Orisa is a good example. Doomfist is not. So you don't want to be doing this situation where you're kind of like in the fight, using cooldowns as they come off cooldown, you know, using your knuckle cannons as they become available to you. You want to be doing something, killing somebody, waiting to kill somebody else, and not being in this kind of really weird, disgusting, sustained fight against people who are going to be trying to kill you, and you're just going to have to use the cooldowns as they become available to you instead of any form of combo to get value. So this is another thing that you should be aware of, is that there's 2 errors here. The first one is that the charging of the punch makes you vulnerable, and while it might work in gold, it will not work as you go higher. So you want to play for the elos that you want to be in, not the elos you're at. So anytime you feel like you should be charging a punch to full, it is not the case. You should almost never be doing that. So if you want to be using your punch for mobility, let's take a look at how far we go from here if I just kind of charge my punch to full and let go. I go here, okay? That was a fully charged punch. Fully charged punch to there. Now let's see what happens if I just tap punch it. So if you're using it for mobility, you don't need to charge at all. You just tap punch it. If you want to do the full jump, you can go farther, but it's really not that far. So if you do the jump tech on Doom's punch, you maybe get like 15 meters farther. So the way you do it is just by like if you hold space and tap, you maintain your momentum and your punch cancels instantly. So one of the things, if you want to get maximum distance, and this includes with Meteor Strike, if you want to get maximum distance, so if you hit somebody with your Meteor Strike, and you want to either kill them off because they were hit like right at the edge, you jump tap punch. And then not only will you move out of the circle where everybody is aiming at you pretty much immediately, but if somebody was at like 1 HP or something like that, you can get into their face immediately. So it's just jump, punch, and you can go really, really far. Hup, boom. Look how far you can send yourself with no charge time at all. So you should really be getting used to using Doomfist's mobility with very little, charge time on the punch at all, because its sound is loud, it makes you vulnerable, and you should not be using it. The only real time you use it is if you're dropping to engage on primarily tank-heavy compositions, or if you're using it after you've already engaged on somebody, you've killed them, you're going for a chain kill instead of an escape. But those are like the only 2 situations in which you really want to charge things. Because if I want to get to that health pack, for example, I'm over there. You don't have to charge, you don't have to sit around, it makes you vulnerable, it makes you a target. Don't do it. Don't do it. This is console? What's wrong with doing this stuff on console? So yeah, that's probably good enough. Oh, and the second thing is that if you are going for uppercut engages, don't fight indoors. If you are a support player, if you are an Ana, if you're a Zenyatta, stay indoors. So if you want to fight against a Doomfist as a support player, the two places you want to be are high grounds, but the better place than being in a high ground is a place with a low ceiling. Because one of the things is that uppercuts put people into predictable trajectories, but if Doomfist uppercuts somebody indoors, that predictable trajectory gets fucked to all hell. They go up first, then the person goes up first while they're dropping. It's so hard it becomes infinitely harder for a Doomfist to kill somebody indoors. Now, if you're staying on high ground, that's still better. But the problem is if the Doomfist knows where you are and you're scouted, like if I want to kill somebody in the doorway on that side, sup, right? Doomfist's mobility is pretty crazy. I messed that one up. So, like, high ground can be useful, but if the Doomfist sets up a rollout, you'll never see it coming. You'll never see it coming. So, yeah, that's all to say about that one is areas with a low ceiling really help against Doomfist.
Bro, die.
Struggle to kill things with tiny hitboxes in areas with low ceilings. So, first thing is you always want to resetting back to high ground. This high ground's fine. Not sure why you're wasting your shots. Kind of lurking. This is good. This is good. I like this.
I'm gonna do a little drop down and get ult. Torbjorn, watch out.
Is this? Hey, you're in a good spot. I like this.
Torbjorn.
Like as long he was doing the same thing you were. Don't lecture him. But right, as long as your opponents aren't feeding, you can be as patient as necessary. Because if the opponent has not moved through this choke, there's no reason for you to go and fuck them up. Right? They're not endangering any of your teammates. You're not on the clock to get a kill. If the opponents try and do something and move into your kill box where they are also just about to get into a position where maybe they might threaten one of your teammates, then yeah, go in, fuck them up, and leave. And then suddenly it's a 6v5 and you shouldn't be in much danger anymore. But being here, being patient is the good and the smart play. Nope. Nope, never engage with uppercut like that.
Here I am. Always leave your
Yeah, so just like learn and love those two main combos I talked about and execute them over and over and over and over again. Only improvise when you know about the exact specific scenarios that you want to do things. Like kind of there was the one other kind of unique scenario that I talked about with so the one unique scenario is where you're going to want to go tap punch somebody into a wall and then uppercut to escape. So this can be pretty useful. One of the weird things. But so that's kind of like one of the niche combos. And then the other niche combo is punch to uppercut. And punch to uppercut can be very useful for taking out things like Pharah or anything that doesn't kind of have a area where you can trigger a seismic slam. So if you are... Oh, that was untargeted. Damn. So the way that I like to practice this one is I like to punch into the bots and then uppercut them like that, and then use the slam to escape. So that's kind of another niche combo to learn, is punching into people. So you would do that against things like Pharahs. If you wanted to kill Pharahs mid-air as Doomfist, you need to very accurately punch into them and then uppercut them to take them out of their unpredictable movement and put them into a predictable movement where your left clicks can kill them. So if you're against Pharah, boom, uppercut them, bang, 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 and then you can kind of seismic slam back out. So practicing this one is pretty important in the custom game. So, in the training range, just punch over, uppercut, tap, 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 oh, and uppercut out. How much does a tap punch do against a wall? 50. I just did the turn punch tech, okay. But yeah, so this is I'll just let that platform leave. So just, so I just like to jump off this little thing. Nope. Why am I sliding off the light today? Interesting. Let's just go here. Punch, uppercut, tap, tap. Okay, weird, but I'll take it. So this is just a fun way to practice this tech. And you can just tap punch this one. You don't have to do a full charge. Boop. boop, boop. And then one of the other kind of like while I'm here sort of things is that you can actually queue. No. You can queue your uppercut and your left click at the same time. So one of the things that I'm going to do here is I'm going to E off the high ground, but then I'm going to just hold shift and left click at the same time. So E, holding shift and left click, boom. And they fire at the same time. I don't have to time the actual activation of uppercut or my left click, is that I can hold them and do just fine. So let's go over here. So if I want to, I'll just kind of show you how I want to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a targeted slam onto this bot, but then I'm just going to be holding shift and left click on the bot as I travel towards him. And one of the other things is that you'd want to, in these situations, you also get free damage by just left clicking them first. So I actually pulled it off first attempt. So the other thing is that you get a little bit of fall off damage with your words are hard right click, or sorry, knuckle cannon these days, but it didn't used to. So one of the things is that you can like hit, punch, left click, cue them, and then you should be able to one shot the target like that. So I think I've just made this one up, but this is a pretty good practice for you. So and then we'll get our cooldowns back. So start here, and then, or let's try and do something crazy. So the idea for getting used to this combo could be punching. Then you want to fire a left click for free extra damage, targeted E-slam, and then cue the shift and the left click. So, I didn't quite one-shot him. I'm a failure. So if I do that little bit, I wasn't actually looking at how much damage I did on that initial kind of like long-range left click, but just do these so that you can kind of get used to the button combos to get this tech to work. Punch over, left click, targeted. Boom, one shot. There you go. So there's some combos for you to practice in the training range. Use this box so you get a bit of altitude. Punch, uppercut, tap, tap, seismic slam out. And then the one on the high ground. Do. Punch, shoot, targeted, Q, kill. And there you are. So there's some Doomfist techs for you to learn and practice.
Let's get Somber, Nice.
Meteor strike! No escape! Tactical visor activated. Rising uppercut!
Yeah, I just feel like you're seeing red people and pressing buttons during that fight.
Man on a mission. Stay out of my way.
Oh, and if you guys thought Doomfist was bad now... Blase tweeted 4 hours ago, so it seems like the uppercut hitbox now persists through its entire animation instead of the first instance of the cast. Doomfist's getting stronger. So thanks, Blase. So yeah, if we do this now... Is it live already? Oh, it's live already! Okay. So previously, the hitbox for uppercut only existed... Wait, is it? Yeah. Okay. But... uppercut hitbox used to only happen at the moment you pressed shift, but now it looks like it actually lingers through the uppercutting motion itself, so you don't have to be as accurate when you try and kill things like Faraz. Because if you started like underneath and you uppercutted, you just like pass through them. And it actually always had a pretty significant lower hitbox. Like you could be, like, do you see how low that target is to me? They made the upper part of uppercut's hitbox bigger. So you can be pretty significantly above targets and still uppercut them. Boom. So it just looks like Uppercut's hitbox is fucking massive now. Hey. Oh, I didn't have it on cooldown. LOL. Wait, why didn't it trigger there? It should have. It wasn't on cool. What? Did you hear the beeping noise? Interesting. Yep. Interesting. So I only learned that 4 hours ago thanks to Twitter. But there you go. He's getting even stronger. Thanks, Blase. Appreciate it, friend. Follow Blase OW on Twitter and thank him for the tech. He plays for the Boston Uprising.
Thank you. Just what I need. Thanks. Thanks.
Shot. Valkyrie is ready.
I foresee great things for you.
So let's talk about the thought process behind this engagement, right? So you're here, you're punching after a Sombra who is very clearly, obviously going to translocate. And that's fine to trade it, to trade punch for a translocate, totally fine. It's like your punch is 4-second cooldown. Good, I'm not crazy, it is 4 seconds. Translocator, 4 seconds, but it also takes her out of position, stops her for farming EMP. This is a good trade down. If you're trading punch for translocator, the problem comes that you... No, you did it. Okay, I saw wrong. That was good. Apologies, Anthony. I interpreted what you were doing wrong. But yeah, just punching in and then getting out, that is good. And now when you are up 1 and the Sombra has just translocated out, this is a 6v4, to actually go in and hard commit here is fine. So like chaining your cooldowns without any of them being used for mobility escape, just constantly using them to dish out damage and fuck people up. When you're up, it's such a massive advantage, just keep doing it, keep doing it. Very snowbally character. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And people look at this and they're like, oh, what a bullshit character, like getting kill after kill after kill. Like, yes, but this fight was very clearly already won. These people probably would have died even if Doomfist wasn't there. He just made the process a little bit more dramatic and cool to look at.
Meteor strike.
It's a bit cocky. Okay, so what combos did you use here? Okay, so you punch. So you used punch as if it was trying to kill, and then you used slam. You missed, and then you uppercut it afterwards. So it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm not sure if your punch was attempted kill or an attempted mobility, but either way, if you are going to go in for the punch onto targets, if they have escapes like Moira does, then you want to be using the uppercut as quickly as possible, and you want to be comboing it with left click. If an opponent doesn't have an escape, it's usually better to use the knock up of the seismic. See how the targets get knocked up? It's better to use that in order to land a couple of easy shots. Unless the opponent is something that is going to like be doing a lot of damage to you, that makes it really easy for you to hit shiny targets. And by shiny targets, I mean hard to hit, tiny hitbox stuff. So you do that, just tap, tap, and then if they don't have escapes, if they don't have things that can keep them alive, uppercut last. If they do have things that can keep them alive, the burst damage right at the start will give you the best chance of actually killing them. So, boop. That's way faster, but it's easier, especially if you don't need the uppercut to kill them. Like if it's a mini diva, for example, then you should be able to just finish them off with the slam and the left clicks, and that will save your uppercut for somebody else. And this is kind of like another version of staying in the fight. So if it's a mini diva, click in, they're popped up, punch, punch, and then you can stay in the fight, and then you can still have your combo and potentially get 2 people as well as maintaining your escape. I hope you kind of followed that along, but if you don't need your uppercut as part of the combo, you can just kill somebody with your E, then kill somebody with your shift, and then still get out. So that's kind of what I was saying, is that you can use your E shift combo in order to one-shot important or hard-to-kill targets, but if you don't need your E shift target for one singular target, use it on 2 separate targets and still be able to escape, or hit one, I fucked it up, or hit one with your E, kill them, hit one with your shift, kill them. So, theoretical perfect world, boop, 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 up, boop, 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 killed the second, punch kills the third, sort of thing. So, just kind of efficiency of cooldowns, timings, and combos are just so important on Doomfist. Hit, boop, beep, boop, beep, bop, beep.
60 seconds. Team up for special attack.
I just want to look at your ammo usage here. So this is fine. This is an untargeted slam into a big group of squishies. I got nothing wrong with this. No initial left click before the slam. It's free damage. So one of the things that makes Doomfist so awkward to learn how to play like really super efficiently is that his ammo is constantly regenerating. So you kind of constantly want to be using his shots. But so let's look at this. What I'm going to do is basically, so if I want to get free damage, right? Let's do left click. You know, oh man, the fall off nerfs. Fall off nerfs. Okay. Anyway. So if you want to do free damage, like I'm going to have my 4th shot back or almost back by the time that I actually finish my slam, right? So if I left click and then slam in. Oh. Okay. Right, if I left click and slam in, boom, I already have that 4th shot back. So if you like really want to min-max the use of your ammo on Doomfist, before you start your combos, just throw a shot for free. Just throw a shot for free. Just punch, boop. It's back. It's back before my seismic is done. It's back before the seismic is done. Punch. It's back. Look, it's back. You get your 4th shot before you even finish your seismic slam. Always fire a free shot before you engage on your combo. Right? Boom. Boom. I've got 4 shots. Now I've got 3. Now I've got 2. Now I've got 3. Right? Just constantly be shooting. So a lot of people kind of only use their shots for once they finish their combo and not when they've actually started them because they just are so caught in having to like manually reload. I can't believe it's been 8 months. I went from silver to diamond, and that's all thanks to Emong, but you helped too. Much love. So no initial shot on this first one here. So you're coming in, you turn, you hit the Lucio, you don't have your crosshair placed on them, and you don't fire a shot immediately after landing. You uppercut before you fired a shot, and then you fire all 4 of your shots after the uppercut, but you miss. So like there's the mechanics of actually kind of aiming at them, which is, you know, something that I can't coach other than aim at them, please. But yeah, so putting your shots in, like before the combo, before the uppercut, and then you should have at least 3 shots, or you should have 3 shots during the uppercut. So it's shoot, seismic, shoot, uppercut, shoot, 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 punch out. Okay, but you lost this point. What could you have done to actually prevent the loss of this point? So you killed Diva, your team killed Diva. You didn't get the Moira here, she faded out. You're out of cooldowns. You punch away here.
No. Team up for special attack.
So everybody just dies to EMP and Supercharger. Okay, that happens. The way that you could have prevented this fight from being a loss is to have actually killed the people you attempted to combo. Congratulations, swimmer. Are you still using your mouse pad?
We already lost.
So there's a fun Point in chat says, on console, it's much harder to aim center of mass with Doom on 180s like that. Harder? Yes. Possible? Yes. Don't judge yourself by what's difficult. Judge yourself based on what's possible.
Guys, you're all alive sitting on the point. If you're just sitting there not doing anything.
Like, guys in the Overwatch League aren't going to be like, that's a really useful tech, but it's difficult to pull off.
Yeah, that
We
happens.
were doing as much as we could have.
Coming at you.
Stay down. Healing him. Thanks.
Alive sitting on the point. If you're just sitting there not doing anything. Yeah, that
We
happens.
were doing as much as we could have.
Okay, chat. There's a Sombra here. How do you engage this Sombra? Chat, how do you engage this Sombra as Doomfist? Do you tap punch? Do you long charge punch? Do you E? Do you uppercut? This one you don't actually have any problem with doing a long punch, because there's nothing that the Sombra can do other than just shoot you to stop you from charging up your punch. So you can just stare her in the face while you're charging the punch up to the point where she dies. Right? After that, seismic slams go weird into walls, and uppercuts go weird into like the tops of buildings. So the thing that you want to do here is just slowly charge your punch until you know you're lethal. If she starts hacking you, you release into her face. It's a 0.7 second hack time. You should be able to cancel that. Also, you just heard the hack sound in your head. So even if she hadn't just hacked the pack, if she tries to hack you, just let her have it in the face. Right? So if you charge it up, punch her, then you're going to get the melee. And then after that, you should just be able to finish her off in left clicks. E's and shifts do not happen in doors like this. This is difficult to do. So here, you're just kind of like flailing randomly, like, question mark? Yes, this is a question mark. Be patient. You need to make sure your shots land. Every single shot is methodical on Doomfist. Then you E out, then you go back under. And you get the punch because the Brigade is stunned. Perfect.
Stay down. Healing him. Thanks.
Yeah, indoors you can uppercut people to finish off. That's fine. Like, if they're going to be finished off. But if you, like, missed your punch or anything, I'd probably be looking at running away. But, yeah, so the only time you, like, if you've already got them low, then the uppercut will very clearly, like, a big hitbox, easy to finish target. But in terms of, like, ways to start engaging them, no, don't want to start with shifts. It makes things awkward. Okay, so this is one of the things where it doesn't feel to me like you're going in with any specific plan. You're going in and you're using your cooldowns. There's no kind of sense of cycling, returning to positions where you can re-engage with and getting maximum value out of your abilities. So let's look at this again. You do get the Sombra. Boom.
Stay down. Healing him. Thanks.
Like, punch hitting a wall, I'm not going to bitch about that. Ironically, you do actually get a 74 damage seismic slam out of that, but then you punch right back in. Now, one of the things that lets Doomfist get away with so much is that people's time to kill is so slow at this elo. And that even if you fuck up all of your cooldowns, you'll probably be able to get at least 2 full sets of cooldowns off successfully before you die, if you die. Because even if you're hitting a couple of them, you're also generating your shields back. In higher elos, you'd have died on your, like, first attempt. Just instantly dead. You would have punched, and then you would have, as you were attempting to seismic slam in, you would have died. You'd been dead. The time to kill is just so much shorter. So you might be able to get away with it at this elo if you hard commit and you constantly try to chain all of your ultimates back and forth. And then usually Doomfists, when they get to this point, they're deep in enemy territory. they're low on knuckle cannon shots, and they have their ultimate, well, most Doomfists will be like, ah, fuck, shit, I fucked up, I'm bad. But let's press the outplay button. So are you going to press Q here?
Meteor!
Yeah. So this is one of the things that makes Doomfist so forgiving, is the very long time to kill and the fact that he has an escape that not only allows him to keep committing, gives him more shields, and will allow his cooldowns to reset. Come back in, you do hit, so after just completely chaining and missing all of your abilities, twice basically, you got your ultimate, you used it, you killed Lucio, and you're probably going to continue with your hard commit.
You're not getting
Heal me, heal me, heal me, heal me, heal me.
The only thing that stops your reign of terror is Sombra's purple tickle fingers. Boom! Get fucked, Moira. Outplayed.
Heal me, heal me, heal me. Brigade body. Good, good.
I might need this later.
Very nicely done. Charge until you hear the hack or you're in danger of dying. Unleash. They're low. Uppercut.
Thank you.
It's fine. Like, so your Gears, you're saying asking for healing at full shield, full armor. I'm actually not going to complain about that. I've played on teams before where people would spam the button because they knew they were about to be in a situation where they need healing. Like, would you rather that this person was letting their healers know that they're about to be in some deep and serious shit, or should they wait until they actually get to 100 HP to ask for healing? Nah, if you know you're about to be in trouble, spam the shit out of the I need healing button if you're not a talker, or start screaming like a little bitch for the heals that you need. Right? It's going to draw the attention, and as soon as the attention, like, you know, healers are dumb. People who play Lucio, especially stupid. You know? Like supports, they're not very bright up here. So when you ask for healing, they're going to have to be like, who needs healing? Where are they? And then once that dumb fucker processes that he needs to heal you, by that time you actually will be in need of healing. So just give them, just give them the time that they need to find you and heal you. Yeah, warning people, if you know you are going to be taking damage in the immediate future, it is fine to ask for healing at full health.
Holy shit. This is the longest fucking streak I've had with Doomfist. 16-0.
If anybody was actually offended that, it was meant to be a self-burn. I played a lot of Lucio on, like, Tuesday. So.
They're coming in right side.
Was a joke.
I'm dead.
Not wrong about that one. Okay. Let's look at this one more time. What is the proper way to engage this? Okay, are we using E? Are we using Shift? Are we using Punch? What is the proper way to engage this? Wow, chat, you're actually getting better. Correct. It's a trick question. The correct answer is don't. You're getting better, chat. The answer is don't do this. Maps none. Temple of Anubis. Big dick play is to 1v3 them. Perfect. Okay, so if we're over here. So remember your team, and this actually goes back to the conversation that we had at the very start of the VOD when I was talking about stuffing, right? So if you're a Reinhardt, where do you want to be holding if your opponent attacks from that side? So let's start with Reinhardt, and let's take this Reinhardt lesson and teach it to the Doomfist players. Okay. So the opponent is coming from there. As Reinhardt, where do I hold? Is here fine? Do I hold here? Yes, no? Is this a good spot? Yes, no, yes, no. No. This is not a good spot. Well, this is an okay spot to start, because you can be like, yo, are they... So if you're holding here, or maybe you were even holding here, you know, this is fine. So if we're holding here and they're like, you scout them and you see them going tunnel, you can be like, oh, okay, they're going tunnel. So you can be like, I'm going to rotate, and you're going to be like, yep, fire strike, and then we're going to back. And now why do we not hold... This is the question. Why, instead of holding this corner, do we hold here? Why is this spot a better for Reinhardt than here? FLM is getting it pretty good. He says, your DPS won't be able to do any damage. If you try and stuff an opponent here, their backline is safe. Their backline is safe. They can hide around this corner. They can hide back here. And you get a lot of pressure while the opponent is safe, and then you can retreat, and then they can push off, but they've already got that advantage. So if you are here, and you're kind of like using this wall and being like, fire strike, and then hiding again, your supports also have good cover, your backline is also safe, and the opponent has to push out onto you. And if they push out onto you, you can either fight them or back off even further if you need to. But what this does is that if they push onto the point, if you have like a Widowmaker, for example, it opens up the sight lines and allows your team to have more vectors of attack. So, where is the proper place to position yourself on an Anubis B Doomfist? Anybody have a suggestion? Where do we go on Anubis B defense for Doomfist? Do we go here? High ground. It's pretty good. This one's not bad. This one's even better. This one's so good. You can start here if the opponent, if the opponent wants to go in, you'd be like, wee, 125, bam. Do that if you wanted to. So that is probably one of the best places for you to sit on Doomfist, because it gives you so much ability to hit pretty much anywhere on the map. I don't actually think you can do... Can you actually hit a targeted seismic slam from here? Oh, great, I fell off. Ugh. No? God damn it, man. Just wanted to take it the easy way instead of going the full way. I don't know all of the rollouts for Doom. I don't think you can actually make this one. No, you land there. Okay, so you can't actually make it from here to here without a punch. You'd have to do a punch first, but that's not really that big of a problem. Yeah, you'd have to tap slam. Dude, fuck working Black Friday. Was it that bad, main event? Oh, God. So yeah, you'd have to kind of like punch, which isn't the worst thing ever I do, because if you punch in, you can have a much more accurate choice of targets for you to hit. So you can't do an untargeted slam over there. So this one's kind of like an area that I would call a hard commit location. If you're going from here to here, you need to use mobility to get from there to there before you can execute your one-shot combo. So you can't do a targeted or an untargeted from this location to that location, so you need to bridge that location with a punch. What was I talking about? Yes! Doomfist. So that's the reason, the same reason why Reinhardt would want to only be here for about one fire strike and then retreat is the same reason why as a Doomfist you shouldn't be going in here, because you're basically acting like the main tank here as you're executing the engagement, and the opponent has really no reason to push onto the point and expose themselves to any of your teammates, because you have just gifted them one Doomfist-sized target for them to fuck up before they take a 6v5. So they're going to take the 6v1, they're going to win it, and then they're going to take the 6v5, and they're going to win it, because 6 is larger than 5, and 1. I know that might be a crazy numbers concept, but that's the way shit works. Yeah, don't engage first. Let your opponents pressure at them, because just the pressure is also a distraction of the attention. And if in the middle of a 6v5, they try and divert all of their attention to you, it means that the rest of you, the 5 other teammates on your team, can provide value uncontested while they are trying in vain to stop African Genji from just killing all of them. Okay, let's go back. Mute this again. I guess I should just put it back to the normal setting, shouldn't I? Off. I forgot that was the setting I used to use. Right, so here... Well, their diva is going to bomb anyway. You're dead.
Alright, we're gonna try to try to... I don't know. We do need to use rally. Alright guys, push.
That sucks.
Oh,
You were only missing like 20 HP. It wasn't super
I'm not
necessary.
gonna let them win this.
Bam! I would still recommend doing jump E's instead of... So the one thing I kind of have wrong with this that I'm going to bother talking about...
I'm not gonna let them win this.
That punch is fine, but I would immediately go into a seismic slam instead of an uppercut. So if you're trying to do, like, the difficulty of doing an uppercut is if you want to seismic slam the same target that you uppercutted. So if you're fighting somebody like this tiny little piece of metal, fuck this little tiny piece of metal, you're like, oh, I'm gonna fuck you up, and then you uppercut, but you're like, oh, he's not dead. You're gonna have to seismic slam 180 to finish him off. But if you guys saw how much damage the seismic slam does, right? So how much damage does a jump seismic slam do? That did 52 because I didn't do it right at the jump, but it should do 57. So jump E. I got 58. I got a whole 58. Okay, so 58 damage E just from jumping on flat ground. But if you uppercut somebody first and then try and like seismic slam the same target that you did, 25 damage. And if you guys didn't know, I'm surprised how many people don't kind of recognize this. But the number on the center of your screen is how much damage the seismic slam does. So actually, it's not distance or altitude. It's time in the air. So, yeah, you do less than half of the damage on your actual E if you uppercut. And even kind of like targeted seismic slams, the thing is that untargeted seismic slams are slow. So, right, untargeted seismic slams are slow. Targeted seismic slams are very fast. So, untargeted seismic slam off of a little ledge with a jump, 82. Targeted seismic slams from altitude, 39. So, targeted seismic slams are really good for accuracy, but bad for damage. So, if you're in the middle of a very chaotic team fight, it's important that you just jump, E, and then it allows you to easier combo your left clicks because they'll be locked into a little bit of a hop animation after your E hits them, as well as your shift to finish people off. It's a long way of saying E before shift.
Oh, let's break it down!
Guys, this is a fucking awesome game.
Because you're playing Doomfist! Of course it is!
I foresee great things for you.
Time to accelerate!
Fuck it. Mulligan that one.
What I need.
And that's the great thing about Doomfist. That's the great thing about Doomfist, is it is totally okay if you do one of your cycles, you uppercut, you shift, you still don't kill him, and then you just punch out. That's fine. Because the number of cooldowns, if you're thinking about value in a fight, it's like cooldowns for cooldowns. So here's a question. How many cooldowns does a high-level team use to prevent a Doomfist from getting a kill? Or let's take it one step back. Doomfist, how many abilities or how many cooldowns does Doomfist use to try and get a kill? He gets 3. He uses 3 in order 2 of them to try and get a kill, and then 1 of them to escape. So he uses 3. How many does a team use to prevent Doomfist from fucking them up? All of them! They use all of their cooldowns available to them to prevent Doomfist from fucking them up. So even if Doomfist goes in, doesn't kill anything, but then gets back out, he still got value for his team. He still probably did damage. He probably got a bit of shield, so maybe if he got out with, so little damage, maybe he's even at more health than when he went in. And the opponent used everything they possibly had to try and keep Doomfist alive. They used Boop, they used amped heals, they used defense matrix, they used boosters, they used bubble, they used everything they possibly had just to make sure that Doomfist couldn't get that kill. And if Doomfist gets out, or if Doomfist does still get the kill, well then the team that has Doomfist still gained an advantage. So there's no shame in going in on Doomfist and not getting the kill. It probably takes more skill to go for a kill, realize you're not going to be able to get it, and still escape. You shouldn't usually commit to actions which are basically guaranteed to trade, where even if you do get the kill, you're going to die immediately after. Trades do not usually go in favor, unless you're trading onto, like, I don't know, Mercy in old Mercy meta, Zen with Trance maybe, but Doomfist is like a bit of a snowball-y character. And especially if composition is like built around him trading for one target is not always the best thing.
Hello.
In like 2 CP stall situations, fuck yeah. Otherwise, not really.
Rising uppercut. Meteor strike. No escape. I'm on fire. Anyone want a piece of
Double. 60 seconds remaining.
Nice.
I don't really see how you're going to lose this game. Honestly.
GG, boys.
Good job, guys.
Okay. That would explain it. So this is kind of like one of the reasons that I like reviewing losses is that you're not being punished. So I can talk about the things that you should be doing, but what you need to do from here is take the basics. I love it how what I just told you I consider the basics. That's kind of a mean and very cruel way of looking at Doomfist. But take what I've given you. Especially memorize the 2 main combos and the 2 backup combos. So 2 main combos, 2 backup combos. So you have them and you can kind of think about where to use them. Sit in the high ground position. Be a lot more patient. Try and use your combos and make sure you're escaping afterwards. Or if your initial combo results in a kill, then you can hard commit to the snowball. And just those like few little changes should go a long way for your play, other than being a little bit more careful with your left clicks. Efficient, so using them more often in periods where you're not using them at all, but then when you're currently just spamming them like crazy, use them a lot more sparingly until you know they're actually going to land. So, is there any more kind of like basic stuff on Doomfist that I'd want to talk about, other than like the general principle of rollouts? So there's one other kind of topic on Doomfist. Let's go to King's Row. Let's do King's Row. Not King's Row. Let's do Route 66. Learning the principle of mechanics is pretty important. So one of the things with Doomfist
only through
is that you have to learn how his the mechanics of his uppercut, or sorry, his seismic slam works. Is that a lot of people it's not really that intuitive, but right. So I'm about to seismic slam off of this high ground onto the ground, and I want to do an untargeted slam. Right, I want to do an untargeted slam. So what do? I press E. Boom, 84 damage untargeted slam. Okay, I want to do the exact same thing, but this time it's not going to work. So right, I want to do an untargeted slam right into that area. So that was a targeted slam. That one worked just fine. Now I want to do an untargeted slam. So don't want to look at the ground, maybe. You know, so even if I look up, and so I'm looking at the sky here, and then we're gonna Perfect. 91 damage, untargeted slam. I love it. Now, let's do it one more time. Look at the sky, because we're going for an untargeted slam. That was weird. Did you guys see what happened? So it actually failed to activate. You could hear like the beep, the beep, the beep, the beep, and then it triggered. So the thing that happens here is that if you jump off of a high ground and try and use an untargeted, it won't function. Untargeted seismic slams require you to be a certain altitude above the ground. So you can't activate it at the crest of the jump, but you can activate it as you get close to the ground. Can't activate? Can activate. So it's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird. So it'll be more clear when we jump off of like a really high ground. So if I jump off this high ground here, I'm not going to be activated until I get close to the ground. So if you are starting on pieces of high ground, this is what you have to be aware of, is that if you're up here, if you want to do an untargeted trigger, you have to go like that. You can't jump off and then do an untargeted slam. If you jump off or are in the middle of some sort of rollout punch, so let's say I want to punch into the door of that cave, I can't do an untargeted there. Because if I do a punch rollout, I'm going to be too high above the ground, and it has to be targeted if it's going to trigger. You cannot trigger an untargeted slam after a punch rollout. You cannot do it. So where can I demonstrate this? Look up. Can't do it. You cannot trigger an untargeted seismic slam after a punch. But if you abuse this, you can do rollouts. Because you need to be over a surface in order to trigger seismic slam, if you do it on a slanted surface, it gives you forward and upwards momentum. So here, we'll trigger an untargeted seismic slam. That's really all it is. It's the easiest place for you to learn the initial rollouts, and you don't need set rollouts or anything like that. As long as you know the rules of what makes a rollout a good rollout, you can make them and experiment with them yourself. Up, untargeted, bam.